on the move and trying to go under the radar. This is the cat and mouse game that's been playing out for decades in America.
It's been a roller coaster. I can honestly say that the border's not secure. I don't think it has ever been secured.
Illegal immigration is shaping the presidential race. We meet the defiant deportees fleeing violence in Mexico, prepared to risk everything for a better life in the United States.
If they build a wall, will it stop you?
No.
I myself personally don't like the idea of a wall. It reminds me of the Berlin Wall.
Isn't it a damn shame that the most powerful country in the whole world can't secure its border with cheap past Mexico?
We've just never seen children crossing in these numbers that we see today. There are things that can happen to you that sometimes seem much worse than death.
It's a debate that has divided America, and with an election now only weeks away, it could help decide who wins the keys to the White House. There's already fencing that spans some 650 miles along the US-Mexico border, but it's not enough for Donald Trump. He says he wants to build a wall and deport undocumented immigrants, and his message hits home in Brooks County, South Texas, where there are signs of life and death everywhere. Rancho La Voja Durham is among those impatient for change.
We used to have anywhere between 300 or 400 coming through here every day. Through Brooks County, every day. And then they started shutting the gate on them. I call it the killing fields of Brooks County. The one on the left is just some of the trash that the illegals leave on the ranch. The nation is not a nation unless it's got its border secured. What the heck? I mean, everybody else does it. Why shouldn't we?
This busy checkpoint in Falfurrias, 70 miles north of the border, is meant to stop migrants getting any further into the US. The people smugglers simply tell them to walk around it,
just went to a fence.
drawing police into high-speed chases on the other side.
It's getting more busier and more busier, and they're just finding new ways to get to this side. We study them, they study us. We call them scouters. They scout the area. It could be that vehicle, we don't know, we don't know who it is. As soon as they see me, they have someone else on the other side of, let's say on the east side or west side of town, go ahead, and they'll pick them up.
We've travelled into the border city of Nuevo Laredo in northern Mexico. A reminder of the life some try to leave behind. It's tense. The military are patrolling the streets as a deadly conflict between rival drug cartels escalates. Those on the sidelines try to scrape a living. At a migrant centre, we meet 3 recently deported men, desperate and dismissive of Donald Trump's plans.
What do you think of Donald Trump?
Pues es una persona poco inteligente, pues los mexicanos por lo regular siempre se ha sabido que van a su país en ocasiones a hacer el trabajo que ellos no hacen o incluso superarse uno mismo como persona.
Do you think that those who commit crime should be deported?
Yo creo que si le están faltando
el respeto al país, más que nada a los ciudadanos norteamericanos, yo creo que sí.
Despite fresh scars from their journeys, they are willing to try again. But increased border security has made their paths more perilous. Back in South Texas, for some it's not about how many people get sent back or exactly how a wall will be built. It's Trump's rousing rhetoric that seems to matter.
It's not fair for the illegals to come to our country and they don't pay taxes and they get free food, free health care, free school, full education, and us citizens have to pay taxes and we don't get none of the above. It's just not fair.
I'm tired of footing the bill.
I believe that he's a man of his word, and he stands by what he says he's going to do. On the other hand, I also have seen from this president that a lot of times what you want to do as president doesn't actually happen.
Barack Obama has deported more people than any other president, and overall, fewer immigrants are entering the US illegally. But this land, once rich with oil, is known as Death Valley.
This is a young child, and the conditions that we found, we didn't know because it was an unmarked grave. And so when we began the exhumation, we assumed it was an adult, and then found that there were the remnants of a tiny wooden coffin. She endured some terrible trauma.
Dr. Laurie Baker tries to identify the individuals and contact their families.
I think it's been a terrible crisis for a long while. We've just never seen children crossing in these numbers that we see today, and that's what disturbs me the most. What happens to these children? We have accounts from adults of the things that they go through. Sometimes they're kidnapped, they're brutalized, women are raped. There are quite a number of children that are taken and sold into sex trafficking and then moved all around the world. We hear these stories that they're all rapists and murderers, and certainly there are bad people that cross the border, but the majority of the people that we identify and the families that we know, they're just normal people.
And Chief Deputy Benny Martinez has encountered every kind, trying to balance his duty to enforce the law and protect people. And his overstretched force doesn't have the benefit of funding directly from the government. Donald Trump says he wants to build a wall, send back undocumented immigrants. How do you think that would work?
Well, I don't think that's can be attained. It's not feasible. It'd be very difficult for 11 million people to get just uprooted and relocated. Instead of the wall, just implement all that funding into technology, into boots on the ground.
Trump's hardline approach has won him followers, but alienated many minority voters. Recently, he reached out, launching the National Hispanic Advisory Council. Pastor Ramiro Peña was praying at the table at Trump Towers.
I was heartened that he wanted to know what I thought. I'm struck by him as being a solution finder.
He welcomes the Republican candidate's apparent shift from pushing for mass deportations to promising to be fair but firm.
I think we need to find a way to pull them out of the shadows and identify them and encourage them to become productive members of society.
Immigration has exposed deep cracks in the way America sees itself.
This current administration and the administration to come, if Trump loses, will keep on going and let them come across because they're willing to do that, to keep in power, and they know it's a vote.
They'll build their own little ladders and they'll just cross. That's it. Maybe more manpower, yeah, that'll help. But building a wall is just I believe it's a waste of money.
I think people forget that these are individuals, these are people, and they forget that they have lives and they have loved ones that care about them, and they are leaving a very difficult situation, not because they desire to, but because they have to.
A nation torn between compassion, fear and frustration, on the cusp of a character-defining decision.